Dear listeners to the conference, the program continues. Welcome back from the break. I hope you're refreshed a little bit. We will now continue with our first dialogue of today. The dialogue will be chaired by my colleague Hanno Bertigmann, project manager here at the EIT Regional Center Leoben. Hanno, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anna. In this conference, we have heard some really good facts already about the phenomenon of brain drain and brain circulation. We heard about motivation to leave a country, motivation to return to a country. And we heard about that it is a challenge of attractiveness. As the proverb says, the cherries are sweeter in the neighbor's garden. And we have here a very interesting panel of representatives of different communities within the EIT. And I'm really curious to learn about the different activities to tackle brain drain, because my challenge is that the cherries are not necessarily sweeter and better in the other garden. And maybe it's just that we perceive those fruits to be better. So I would like to introduce to you a panel of experts from 4 different communities within the EIT. We have here Marian Belko from the EIT in Budapest. We have here Annalisa Spalazzi from EIT Climate Kick. Tina Bender from the EIT Raw Materials. She's responsible for the RIS activities. Markus Klein, also from EIT Raw Materials, is responsible for entrepreneurship, Jumpstarter programs, business development. Paola Fantini from EIT Manufacturing, our youngest KIC or Knowledge and Innovation community within EIT. Very welcome. And Laszlo Gulyas from EIT Digital, welcome to you also. We are still waiting for Martina Czerniakowska to join us, but we hope that she will make it within the next couple of minutes. It's only a little technical issue that we have to solve. And I would say one of the strongest advantages of the EIT as a community, or indeed of any community, is what I call the togetherness. That as a community we can tackle problems that as a single entity would not be able to tackle. And I would really like you to tell us from your different points of view, from your different perspectives, what can you see as a possibility to tackle brain drain from your experience, from your point of view. And I would like to start with Marian from the EIT, Marian Belko, and I would like to give the floor to you now. Marian, can you hear us? All right, there seems a little technical problem also on his side. He has joined and now he's disconnected again. Can I ask Tina from EIT Raw Materials to take the floor as the first of our panelists, please?
Yes, of course. Hi. Can you all hear me?
Thank you very much. Yeah, here. And
Just
see you clearly.
give me a second so I also share my screen. Hope you can see the presentation.
In presenter mode?
Yes. Do you see my presentation?
We can see it in presenter mode at the moment.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I should turn this off, but yeah, like this.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. Greetings. Thank you, Hannah, for the word. So my name is Tina Benda. I am a geologist, and I'm the Regional Innovation Scheme, or the RIS, manager of the EIT Raw Materials KIC. I am based in Slovenia. And I will just shortly present the Regional Innovation Scheme, since many of you already know it, but then I will also present the projects that the EIT Raw Materials is active in with its partners to tackle the issues that are being discussed in this today's event. So first, a bit refreshment on the Regional Innovation Scheme, which has its origin in the European
Tina, I think we have lost you at the moment. The connection seems to be low or bad. We still cannot hear you, but we can see that you're still connected. So.
Can you hear me now?
Now it's everything back up and running.
Okay, where did you lose me, Hanno?
20 seconds ago.
Okay. So the Regional Innovation
You were
Scheme.
just starting to describe the RIS on the presentation.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry for this. So the Regional Innovation Scheme has its origin in the European Commission's Innovation Scoreboard and is implemented by the EIT to support EU member states and Horizon 2020 associated countries in Europe who are modest and moderate innovators, as well as countries where innovation communities have few or no partners, so where there are not many KIC partners present. The objective and purpose of the Regional Innovation Scheme is to contribute to higher innovation performance of risk countries, promotion of the knowledge triangle integration model, many of you know very well, and for those who don't, it is presented in the next slide, and help raise the capacity of local actors to apply to become full partners of the KICs. This is all derived from the EIT RIS Implementation Guidance Note 2018-2020. So the scheme was developed by EIT, and activities are proposed in the Implementation Guidance Note, but they are not specifically defined. So the risk activities that are proposed in the EIT Risk Guidance Note are from education, that the KICs could offer internships, scholarships for educational programs, and promote industry involvement in educational programs. In entrepreneurship sections, the KIC can support startups and scale-ups, provide networking and matchmaking opportunities, establish partnerships with local businesses and innovation hubs, involve local startups in technology and know-how transfer, run pilots and tests of the outcomes of KIC innovation projects, and involve researchers from the EIT risk countries in KIC innovation projects. So these activities are just some proposed by the EIT, but the KICs can, of course, implement their own risk activities. So the EIT Raw Materials developed its own risk strategy based on the EIT's guidance note. And the focus of activities is on risk countries with primary and secondary deposits of metallic and mineral ores and residues, and countries of lower innovation capacity. The objectives of the risk raw materials strategy are to engage local players in KIC activities, establish risk hubs. We have 5 running, as you can see here on the map, and there is one being established in Sevilla, in southern Spain. The objectives are also to educate, motivate, support potential innovators, and identify and support idea holders and startups. This is why EIT Raw Materials has created, amongst other activities, the business creation and support activity in RIS region, to build sustained relationships and partnerships, so to build the RIS community, to execute the ESEE education strategy, which contributes to the improvement and excellence of the education programs in the region. And the RIS-CAVA education and acceleration projects are also part of the EIT Raw Materials RIS strategy. Here on the right-hand side, you can see the countries that are RIS eligible. They are in this yellow color, and the RIS hubs, as I already mentioned. So the countries that are RIS eligible are the ones who are modest and moderate innovators, or are below the EU's average of innovativeness or innovative capacity. The whole countries are eligible, but the partners should also recognize the regional innovation scoreboard, who was also developed by the EIT. So the educational activities in the ESEE region that the EIT Raw Materials is conducting, the highlight would be the University Business Cooperation Capacity Building Program. This program is using the HE Innovate self-assessment tool for higher education institutions that would like to explore their innovation potential and become more embedded into the local ecosystems, and of course, with the intention to promote the knowledge triangle integration model. Some of the highlighted projects are also MG, encouraging girls to study geosciences and engineering; the OP-EASY, the Joint Study Program, International Master of Science in Engineering, Entrepreneurship and Resources; the DEEM-EASY, which is an education program where students, academia, and industry professionals from the ESEE region learn from each other and create innovation in the raw materials sector, a really successful project. There's also MOBIAS, which is setting up a pilot network amongst 4 universities from the East and Southeast Europe, running different raw materials related master programs. So the connectivity in the region is really important. The Train ESEE version 2 is the capacity building project targeted at 6 universities of ESEE. We have the RMS Manager, which is the raw materials manager course for students. And there are 2 more: LIMBRA, decreasing the negative outcomes of brain drain in the raw materials sector by enhancing the entrepreneurial activity in the Visegrad 4 countries. And ProSkill also tackles the region. It is a program which is developing a skills system in the Visegrad 4 countries with the aim to improve the soft skills of students in order to meet the requirements of the labor market. So this is a short presentation from my side. Thank you for your attention. Here is my email. You are very welcome to contact me at any time, and let's talk later in the panel session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tina, for this interesting presentation. I would put questions at the end of the panel discussion, if that's okay with you. And I would like to ask Markus now to join or to continue with the EIT Raw Materials point of view, talking about business development and this kind of the activities of the EIT Raw Materials. Markus, please.
Yeah, thanks, Arno. Well, I mean, this discussion is all about fighting the brain drain, right? So I would like to rather talk about from a very practical level point of view, which means our experience dealing with startups and identifying startups and supporting startups in the risk regions. So we are all aware about, and it has been raised several times already, that there are different obstacles in the risk countries for startups on different levels. And there's many of those where we cannot do anything about, which is, for example, missing customers in these countries, or missing ecosystems or support into these within these ecosystems. Well, there's also overwhelming formalities and burdens, or financing, even when you win a prize, can take up too long for a startup. There's also constitutional and personal corruption, for example, at universities where students don't have access to infrastructure and so on and so on. There's nothing what we can do about it. We cannot change these things. But what we can do and what we try to do very practically is, and this is why we created the Jumpstarter together with all the other KICs, to identify idea holders and startups on a very, very early stage. Means as early as possible, as they have an idea before they leave the country. And what we can do then, and what we try to do, along with this Jumpstarter, which is actually, the Jumpstarter is a business idea competition, which is rather to identify those ones who have an idea, and we somehow, we call them by giving them prizes. But what we want to do is identify them and then support them through our all programs what we have, which can be booster funding, which can be accelerator programs and whatever. And what we try by this is we try to offer a kind of a substitutional international ecosystems for these startups, to let's say, be in an ecosystem which supports them in their development, and by this give them, at least to a certain extent, the help they need at home, in the place where they are, and not forcing them right away to leave the country. So I think this is the main thing what we can do on this level, on from a very practical level. However, I mean, we also have to admit that from a certain point on, it might happen that they have to leave the country anyway due to whatever development, but we try to keep them there as long as possible and give them any support. Hanno, I think I would like to state it like this here and come back to this in the discussion later.
Thank you very much, Markus. Some practical example or some practical thoughts on what could be done. Thank you for you both from the EIT Raw Materials. I would like to give now the floor to Annalisa from EIT Climate Kick and see what different viewpoints from your point of view you could add to this discussion. Annalisa, please.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Hanno, and nice to meet you, everyone. I'm Annalisa from Climate Kick and acting as program manager in the Regional Innovation Scheme program. I actually would like also Markus for introducing this topic of how we need to give the opportunity to stay, which I think is also something extremely relevant in order to say we don't want to force people to stay, but we want to give them the choice and give the opportunities to stay. I will start sharing my screen so that it's easier to follow. Can you confirm if you can see it? Seems so. Okay. So just a very brief introduction on what Climate Kick is. No, you cannot?
No, we cannot see you yet.
Okay. Because it says yes, but let me try again.
Now it's better.
Okay, super. Okay, so I will give just a really brief explanation on what Climate Kick does and to give the sense on why we are having this approach in the region. So Climate Kick is one of the 8 KICs and is addressing the topic of climate resilient society and circular net zero emissions economy. So it's tackling the climate challenges. And how it is done is through the strategy that we have released end of 2018, which is transformation in time. So using innovation to do a whole system transformation. On 10 years, we have achieved good numbers and a huge impact. Is one of the first wave KICs. So there's been a lot of impact across Europe, but mostly focusing on Northwest to have an analysis of how our impact in the European partnership. But we have been supporting several partners and startups in the whole continent. In 10 years, though, we have learned that all the actions were just going towards an incremental support and not really having the impact on the climate challenge that we are having. And that's why we have decided to use system transformation and system innovation as a driver to work on places and on place-based innovation that we are bringing. Similarly, we have learned that we have been working across Europe through the CLCs in 13 countries, but also that we were needing to focus more on the southeast regions. That's why we have also announced 14 hubs in the southern and central East Europe, but also growing the partnership in the southeast regions, also including Western Balkan countries. Just to give an idea on how the growing number of partners that we have been having since 2016, we started with 4 partners and we have been growing since having more than 21 in 2020, and also other partners that are joining the partnership, all with the idea of working locally for the climate challenges. In terms of Southeast Europe, what we have identified is actually that the main challenges were pollution, like cities like Sarajevo or Skopje being always among the most polluted lists in the European score, apart from the innovation score, as was presented by Tina. Immigration as another topic, where there are cities and regions that are being depopulated, mostly of young people, but also sometimes going abroad, but also moving to the capital and overcrowding capital, so also impacting on pollution. And also the need to work on how we are building better level of prosperity. So we need those countries to adapt and accelerate the impact of climate change, but also prosperity in the meantime. So we see that this is really challenges that are structural and require radical and system response. So we cannot just tackle pollution or immigration. We have to see how we can work on those together. And as was also said by Marcus, so how we can have an impact locally. The interconnection that we have been exploring is that just working on climate neutrality will not make people to stay, but work on climate neutrality and improve the quality of life, this would. So this is where we start to say new ideas have to be connected to those challenges, and we have to provide space for ideas and innovation, but we need also to make sure that we are focusing on the brain drain, working on those interconnected challenges all along, so that we have also created the space for community to speak up, to talk, and to have a better quality of life. So not only jobs, but really reason to stay, to improve the quality and have more say and the impact on democracy in the countries. So just to give an idea on what we mean in terms of system innovation is just that we are having several projects, but we have to see which are the interconnections. So we are not just trying to solve, because sometimes when you talk about climate, it seems that it's too broad and too vague to tackle. But if you are seeing it through the connections, you can act in energy efficiency. But in the meantime, if you know what is the impact of planting trees and same time on improving the transport, having the vision of what are the projects that are coming in a city. So through the picture of the system and where you have to act, this can be actually enabling this transformation that we need. So that's why we are trying to support this aspect, and we are doing it across Europe, but mostly focusing on Southeast at the moment. This is one of our flagship projects that we are having currently that I wanted to use as an example on how we are trying to tackle brain drain in this systemic approach, because it's a project that is working in a mission-led way to transform a group of Southeast European cities into some of the best possible places in Europe to live, work, and visit by 2025. The mission means that we are trying to enable these jobs to be created and involve youth in those communities that we are gathering, but also to create the space for them to work on challenges as air quality, but also on spaces where they can actually have a say and build a community on the spot. The cities involved have been decided to be different among themselves, so to have also a sort of place-based experiments that we can show and the processes to see how they work. So we have capital cities like Skopje and Sarajevo, but also small rural cities like Rijivci or Maribor and Niš. So they are also part of European member states and other that are part of the Western Balkans, just so that we can see how actually the challenges are the same and how we can find solutions that are cross-border also in this sense. How we do it is actually starting really from the community. We have been calling those YES teams, which means that are a group of organizations that are based on a core team of change makers. In this, we are connecting a lot with innovation labs or creating them where they are not existing. And this is also involving KIC alumni, for example, at the moment, so that there are those that are really driving the change, that are supported by a governance group, means organizations are like NGOs, utilities, industries, but also the support of municipalities that are willing to to adopt this challenge. So actually we have all the mayors that are supporting this activity, and a series of allies and advisors, so experts that are coming from the whole European community, from our partners, to support those organizations. And I see in this model something that is like, we have to install this change to make someone that is really volunteering to be the change maker to support then other activities to come and see the interconnections. Finally, just to give a visual idea on how we have started the process, this is kind of trying to visualize how we should see the change in happening. So having as the canopy of a tree, the community organization and how they are organizing among themselves, and all the projects that might come as the fruits that we can produce. So where you actually can grasp the impact, where you can have jobs, but you can also create jobs without a community as a backbone. Is a bit difficult then to make really people willing to stay or to choose to stay, because you have not improved the quality of life. So that's also to say we are seeing a lot of products sometimes, but we need to have the whole picture, and also to see how those trees, as an example of a community, are also interacting with other trees of other communities across different places, and how they can support each other. So I will say we are trying to build this backbone and communities that could resound with other innovation communities, and in deep cooperation also with other KICs that can actually enter also in supporting and with all the activities that we can boost together. So it's really a cooperation aspect that we are always trying to synergize and to build in. And I think for now that's it, and I will leave them for the panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Annalisa, for this interesting insight from the climate kick point of view, and from the how to build communities, to make communities more attractive for people to stay in the communities. I find this idea very good, and we shall possibly come back when we discuss in a group, in a panel after that. Paula, would you like to continue from the EIT manufacturing and talk a little bit about your point of view?
Yes, thank you, Hanno. I will share the slides, but in the meantime, as you know, we have also Costantinos, who's the director of the RIS, that might wish to contribute to the presentation, and maybe if I can ask you to make him also open his mic, maybe, or make him a panelist. I will share my screen.
Ist nicht da.
I just heard from our technical team that he has not joined the conference yet.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It may be technical related, it may be other reasons.
Okay, because he asked me the connection a little bit earlier, and the link, I don't know.
Okay.
So, but
we hope we will make it.
Okay, yes. 1 second, that I need to find the presentation in the... Am I sharing the screen now, or sorry?
We can see your screen, yes.
But it's a mess. Well, 1 second, I will
screens.
be... Yeah. Okay. So
Perfect.
Good morning. Can you see now the screen?
You can see the screen very clearly, and
it's the right one.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. It's difficult to add on this very important theme of brain drain. We have listened to very interesting presentations of experts and KIC that are older than us, with a history of several years of activities. As Anno kindly reminded, we are newborn. We started our activity at EIT manufacturing in 2020. This presentation has been prepared by me, who is Paola Fantini, Education Director, and Costantino Dortulias, the Director of European Affairs and RIS. So we would like to provide you with some hints of our way to counterbalance brain drain. And we maybe should reflect a little bit on the concept of drain. If we take the example of from the physical world, we see that a drain occurs when you have the driving force that is stronger than the force that allows fluids, for example, to stay in the soil. For example, the absorption from plants. When the gravity is stronger, then you have a drain. But this is not enough. You also need to have conducts in order to the drain phenomenon to apply, to occur. So building on this metaphor, we are going to analyze shortly or summarize what are the driving forces, in our opinion, for grains to go away from their home and the region. So there is a need to integrate in a strong ecosystem. Usually young people want to belong to strong ecosystem to develop their personal life and career, to join professional network that are strong, of smart people, and of course to look for more job opportunities, and especially for jobs that have a high value. It means that require high skills that are provide more satisfaction and higher salaries. So if these are somehow the driving forces, the conducts might be the fact that the university in more advanced countries, more innovative countries, compete for talents. So they provide calls and try to invite in any way smart people to join their courses, to apply to the courses. And this is, for us, is a driver, or is one of the drivers for brain drain. And of course, there are already immigration routes, there are words of mouth, there are already community of brains that are already in different countries and can invite or facilitate the migration, let's say, of other smart people. So this is, of course, is not a comprehensive analysis, but just maybe an overview of the phenomenon from our point of view. And what we want to highlight is our way of addressing education and risk. And you see that, for example, what we propose are doctorate school. So our new program that is going to be fully labeled with the quality seal of the EIT, and this program builds very much on risk countries, for example, Estonia, Portugal, Czech Republic, and Slovakia. So through this program, we want to offer opportunities for very high education. Not only normal education, but education that stimulates creativeness, innovation, and entrepreneurship in order to support the development of talents that may want to set up a business or innovate their business locally without moving. We have, this is very particular of our KIC, I think, the paradigm of the teaching factories. This is an approach to education in which we establish a web connection from shop floor engineers in real factories that connect to the classrooms and provide challenges or problems to be solved. This is a way in which, for example, classrooms or education in countries that do not have maybe in the neighborhood very complex manufacturing processes or champions in manufacturing, to anyhow connected to champions in other countries, and without moving, taking advantage of the challenges, of the know-how, of the knowledge asset that are available over there. And we also have, manufacturing is quite physical, so it's important not only to have theoretical know-how, but also to put this in practice with physical equipment. So we have a network of learning factories where we have didactical labs with small, realistic but small manufacturing lines, production lines. And we are now enabling students or learners, also long life learners, to train on this equipment also remotely. So this is a way also to facilitate the advanced training from without the need to own those equipment. And of course, we are very active, at least starting to be very active in engagement, try to stimulate young people, girls and kids in acquiring digital skills, STEM competencies, and aspire for a career in manufacturing. This is our offer, let's say some highlights of our offer, but on the European landscape, and of course Marian Berkol can explain better, there are other initiatives, and we are also lucky to be involved within to stimulate and support the increase of the innovation capacity in higher education all over Europe. So there will be a pilot project this year that luckily will improve the entrepreneurial capacities and capabilities of higher education in all over Europe. And this is also a factor that might restrain or contain brain drain. So if we saw a little bit earlier, the driving forces to leave the country and to look for a better situation. Here we have tried to highlight the reasons and the forces to stay. So what we are offering is personalized learning with specific focus on digitalization, entrepreneurship, and innovation skills, but also on the advanced technologies of manufacturing that are very relevant. We are also increasing the awareness and the capabilities, the skills in all the regions in Europe, and with a specific focus on the risk countries in order to create or contribute to create a fertile soil in the region so that this can keep the people locally, and opportunities to become entrepreneur or innovators through education, but of course with knowledge triangle integration, meaning with the support of the other programs that support business. And also we have created, or we are creating two-way conducts that do not encourage or foster brain drain or the migration of talents, but rather the exchange between different regions, for example, through universities' joint programs, and to those teaching and factories and learning factories mechanism that I have explained in the previous slide, with the idea, with the aim of creating a strong business ecosystem, so that there is this can be obtained across Europe, not locally only in the more innovative and developed regions. So I don't know if Costantino has joined now or no. So he prepared, he's responsible for these activities, but anyway, driving forces to stay. Of course, our education, in general, all our activities are quite distributed across Europe, and this will also be beneficial for the countries that usually are losing brains rather than gaining brains. integration, we offer the opportunity to all the actors also in these regions to connect on in pan-European networks. We have a pan-European networks hubs. We have networks of teaching and learning factories of university and so on. And also through our work on the supply chain, on the value chain, through innovation, we give the opportunity to SMEs and companies in any region to become suppliers and contractors or solution providers for large enterprise. And this is a way in which we help and benefit the organization in all the regions. So our two-way conduct in this way is implemented through customized risk activities, the involvement of a large number of participants from these countries. We have seen examples with the doctoral school, but it's not only that, it's for all the types of activities that we run. And we support to develop an idea to business, also, of course, focusing very much on the risk countries so that any individual student or even long life learner or even individual in occupation can propose an idea, and we support these people to further develop and try to transform this into a business. So this was the presentation from EIT manufacturing side, and I'm looking forward to discuss with all of you in the panel and with the audience, of course. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paola. Thank you very much for this insight from this from EIT manufacturing. As I said, the youngest of our KIC knowledge and innovation communities. Thank you very much. And well, unfortunately, Konstantinos was not able to join, but yeah.
Okay.
I would now give the floor to Laszlo Gulyas from EIT Digital to share his insight or his thoughts on the topic of brain drain. Laszlo, please.
Hello, thank you. Sorry, I was fiddling with unmuting. Let me try to share my screen. In the meanwhile, let me tell you a few words about myself and, of course, EIT Digital. I am Laszlo Gulyas. My background is in information technology, or IT. But for the last 7 years, actually, I've been working for EIT Digital. This is my 7th year in EIT Digital. I've been working in two roles. First, for 3 years, I was working as, can you see my screen now?
No, not yet.
Cool.
Now we can see it.
Okay, and now it should be in presentation mode, right?
Yes.
So now I can focus more on my talk. So the first 3 years I've been working in the EIT Digital ARISE program, or ARISE Europe program, which is or used to be our implementation of the RISE strategy. Then I moved to another position. I am now node director in Budapest, one of the 9 nodes of EIT Digital, which now has a regional responsibility. So even in this new role, I'm pretty much connected to these countries because Budapest is responsible for, well, Hungary, Slovenia, Croatia, Slovakia, Romania, and Bulgaria, all of them being risk countries. And before starting the presentation, or actually showing you my slides, I would like to also explain that the way EIT Digital currently addresses or fights brain drain is via transforming its risk strategy, actually. So what I'm describing here, as you can see, it says that until 2020, because this structure, as I'm introducing it here, is going to be concluded or going to be changed at the end of the year, for the better, I believe. We will keep these activities, but these are going to be way more integrated into the core activities of EIT Digital, and the way, and this is also a way where we contribute to addressing brain drain. Basically, we say, or as you will see, we say that our activities are going to be brought to wherever, to these countries fully, not via specific risk programs. So basically, we support the talents and the companies to stay where they are. Actually, I would also like to put it on the table as an introduction that I think digital technologies and digital entrepreneurship are somewhat special with regards to brain drain. It's not clear whether this is for the better or for the worse, but on one hand, a digital company can and should go global from day one. So digital technologies are really applied worldwide, and if you have a digital solution, then in most cases you can immediately sell to whoever on the globe from day one or from the very beginning, which means that theoretically and in practice too, you could stay where you are and still conquer the world. You could start the next Facebook, Google, what have you, from wherever you are, which happens in some cases, but we also see that on the other hand, the attraction or you know, the drain force is also somewhat stronger for two reasons. One is that well, Silicon Valley has is like the highest attraction value or attraction point all over the globe in digital technologies. So if you are really smart and good in IT, then you will always think about conquering the Silicon Valley as well. And on the other hand, the now notorious or very well known scarcity of talent in IT or digital technologies also means that there is a big pull from the more developed part of the world. So let me start the slides. I won't spend much time on describing what the risk is. I still have this slide here, mainly to point out the map on the slide, where the dark blue countries are where EIT Digital has offices, or nodes as we call them. We also have CRCs in all these places. We have a couple of satellites in addition to these, but what are marked by dots there are the actual CRCs EIT Digital has. And well, simply put, you can see that it's mainly Western oriented, with Nordic being an exception and Hungary being an exception. And as I described, we are now having a regional responsibility. I did not went into details what the transition of what I mentioned means, but basically it means that now the risk countries belong to nodes in the same way as every other country belongs to nodes. So now the Budapest node has this regional responsibility in risk. Some other countries also have risk, some other nodes also have risk countries where what they serve, like the Nordic nodes serve the Baltics, and also Trento in Italy serves the south. But basically, this is how the map looks like from the point of view of EIT Digital and risk. And basically, we implemented our activities in the RISE program via local partnerships. We have executed our activities by 9 local innovation centers, as we call them. You can see the list there. They pretty much cover the regions and the risk region. And the scope of the activities were, well, as the three pillars of EIT activities and EIT missions are innovation and entrepreneurship, education, and ecosystem. And this is what I'm gonna go through briefly, but in all cases, we continue with these activities now. These are managed by the nodes and integrated to our core activities. And in each case, we try to serve these countries in such a way to help the local talents and entrepreneurs where they are locally. And this is also the reason why we executed this program with local innovation centers, and we intend to continue working with them. In the ecosystem, we did events with aiming at engaging startups and scale-ups. With startups, we help them form, we help them grow, and with the scale-ups, we have their going abroad, growing up in Europe and the globe, internationalization. So we also work with corporates there, matching European companies to local corporates, serving their local needs with investors and government responsibilities. We run communication campaigns. I don't spend too much time there, except mentioning that we have run a series of reports, local reports addressing the region's challenges, summarizing what's going on there, trying to make sure that the words and the words of the local ecosystem are heard across Europe. I have a few examples here, but we did and we do many more. And innovation and entrepreneurship. We run 3 types of events here. We create new companies from local talents in our venture program, but we also help existing companies to grow across Europe in 2 ways. In the open hours, we support the intake of our digital EIT Digital Accelerator. So basically, we have a brief interview, and local companies, without moving to anywhere, can already consult our mentors and see if we can work together. In the virtual tech marketplace, we serve the local companies with solutions, technical solutions from abroad. And finally, in education, we are connecting these students to our summer schools and to our master schools. We recruit there. And we also do this by serving the local ecosystems, by spreading the whole idea of entrepreneurship and the integrational education and innovation. We run innovation games. These are brief ideathon workshops which show what you can achieve with the EIT type education. That is it for now, a brief summary of what we did and what we do now in a different format. But the goal is always to bring the services where the stakeholders are, to serve the local ecosystems and establish cooperation with them in such a way that they can indeed benefit from this technology and market point that I made in the beginning, that you can conquer the world in the digital market from whatever location on earth. So we try to serve them where they are and try to help them where they are. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much from Leoben. Finally, I would like to ask Marian from the EIT head office point of view, basically, to round this up a little bit. Marian, please.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me now?
Thank you very much. Loud and clearly.
Perfect, thanks. Let me also try to share my screen and put on my presentation. Sorry for earlier technical problems. Let's hope it works now. I have to switch computers. Hope you can see my presentation. First of all, thank you for inviting us for this panel. I'm here to replace my colleague Laura Supieva, who is at our end in charge of regional innovation scheme. So she's following very closely all the KICs and them contributing and working on regional innovation scheme. But unfortunately, she couldn't join and asked me to step in. My profile, my agenda is following everything in connection to education, and that also entails a lot of points that are very relevant for the discussion today. I have few slides, but I think I would skip some very general introductions that you probably are very well aware of what's the role of the EIT and what's our ambition. I wanted only to maybe show few things, and one is the progress made in already supporting countries and regions lagging behind in innovation through our regional innovation scheme. As you can see, there is, if you look at all the KICs and all their effort, there's already huge, a lot of results and huge impact made. And here on this slide, in visual element, you can see how very well present are already some KICs in specific region countries. It's the green dots on the map. So I think over the past years, with coordinated effort, we already managed to have great progress in being active and offering the EIT model and EIT results to partners and countries from this region. More importantly, what is there still in the time in the time coming and in the next programming period? You already probably know that we are in the middle of negotiations of future framework program, which is very much relevant also for the EIT and the whole EIT community and our strategic direction in the future, because we are fully integrated within the Horizon Europe, and the whole negotiation about not only the budget, but more importantly also about the future strategic innovation agenda will lay down our, let's say, direction to how to further work on our mission and vision. Basically, for the EIT, there's a lot of continuation. It's expected that our strategic goals will still be reinforce research and innovation capacity of the EU and member states, address the global societal challenges, and contribute to the overarching EU strategic objectives in the agendas that you can hear in all these political and strategic discussions at the EU level as well. Green Deal, namely, or digital education action plan, and so on. Specific goals for the EIT in this will be to foster, grow, and strengthen sustainable innovation ecosystem across Europe, bring global societal challenges to the market, nurture entrepreneurial talent, and contribute to innovation policy and design. And this is very relevant when it comes to supporting the regional innovation scheme. As for the EIT, it is expected that our effort towards the regional innovation scheme will be enforced. Our goal and ambition is to better address regional specific challenges and nurture talent within and for the region. Increase the regional impact and better links to smart specialization strategies. That's also very relevant, because what we can contribute has to be really coordinated at EU level with complementary and similar initiatives, not to duplicate the effort and try to really benefit from joint consolidated approach. And that's critically important also for us. I'm very thankful for what I heard from my colleagues from the KICs. It's great to see what kind of practical activities are already designed to address this challenge. And the role of the EIT we see is to really have strategic coordination and to really drive the whole effort to successful impact. I would specifically mention two things that are coming up and that are also at my agenda, and that's That's a new strategic objective for the EIT to support, strengthen innovation and entrepreneurship capacity in the higher education sector. That's particularly new compared to the current let's say scope of what we are doing. And the novelty in this strategic objective is the ambition to scale up and scale up the effort to support higher education sector in more institutional manner. So to spur or to help universities and other higher education institutions to become more entrepreneurial and innovative at the institutional level. So there are a lot of good examples, a lot of good programs, particular activities with universities, and our ambition is to really scale up this to make sure that we help the universities to become innovators and have innovation capacity and in their local ecosystems as institutions. I think that's extremely important, especially when it comes to regional innovation scheme, and especially when it comes to driving change in the risk countries to help to tackle the challenges related to the brain drain. I think this particular initiative has a lot of potential to address. And in the future ambition, there's very clearly identified ambition to focus this new initiative, new activity at risk countries as well. So, and we are in a development stage now, and I think there's a huge progress in the past months how this could be kicked off next year with pre-pilot activities adding up or the total budget of 12 million euros. A huge part of it will be specifically allocated for activities to help address risk. Another critical or huge significant initiative, and especially in educational flagship initiative, is EIT label. EIT label is a quality so that we are to excellent master and doctoral programs, and we are again in the middle of process of redesigning the EIT label that would also help us to update our approach and to strengthen our impact in in nurturing the entrepreneurial talent specifically. And the ambition here is to expand looking back on what are the strong elements and strong aspects of the label, how to expand this beyond the current label mandate, and to look at how to replicate or how to expand the label principles beyond the degree education also, and how to make sure that the positive elements and the other universities and especially countries from and institutions from risk can benefit from our knowledge and great experience within the or with the label programs. We are redesigning it, and I think again the focus here is also to strengthen the geographical balance and to make sure that we contribute to leveling up risk countries. And if I may, I would also say that for my the brain drain challenge is also very important also from my personal perspective. I'm coming from Slovakia, and I left for university and never came back to my country of origin. I stayed with Czech Republic, now in Hungary. Okay, it's still in region, but again, to pursue some career path, people from these countries are motivated to leave. But what I see in my peers and a lot of people that had the same path and left after, let's say, graduation middle school for foreign countries, there is a strong tendency also to consider coming back. And there are a lot of very good programs in these countries already at national level. I know in Slovakia, for example, in the national government, there was a program to motivate their excellent graduates to work for the administration, and they design a specific scholarship programs for people wanting to help Slovakia move ahead and move forward pay their tuition fees at the leading and top Ivy League universities to get the best education available, provided that they sign for, let's say, at least 5 years then after graduation to come back and spend and work for the national administration. I think in my personal view, the problem with the brain drain is embedded in more structural and symptomatic elements within the region and within the national administration, and it's excellent. The question is how we can help from our wealth of knowledge in activities to drive the innovation, and here and I will end with that. Our strongest ambition is to really try to help to have the institutional effect, and not only to motivate or to identify students and offer them excellent studying opportunities at the leading European universities. So there are a lot of students coming from risk countries enrolling into the label programs and into the programs of KICs, but also try to incentivize the institutional presence or the universities from the risk countries, where I think we still lag behind to participate in these programs that can offer local experience and level up their institutions and contribute to the let's say raising the institutional capacity or the innovation capacity in the local ecosystems. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward for the discussion.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, very much for this good overview. And I would like to pick up on 2 points that were mentioned by Paola and Annalisa. Both mentioned a fertile ground, and you in your presentation just now, you also said the same, and Markus also from the EIT raw materials, to provide a local ecosystem which is attractive to everybody, attractive to people to stay in the country, or even, as you mentioned, to return. And I would like to put one question to all of you as a discussion point, a point that is related to my personal experience also when I was working 8.5 years ago as a marketing and a public relations manager for an industrial company here in one of our provinces. We also faced a problem of brain drain. Our demographs told us that within the next 5 years, 40% of the 19 to 25-year-old would leave the region simply because they do not see a future for them. They do not see a job opportunity for them. And so we joined forces together as industrial companies and other companies as well to fight against this movement of the people, because they were our workforce. And we identified that most of the motivation for those people to leave was actually they did not know what is available in the region. And maybe that is also something that I would like to ask you. How can we as a community of different KICs make sure that the people in the countries know what within their own country, what kind of attractive companies is available, what job offers are available for them, to make sure that they don't even think about leaving? Who would like to start with an answer to this question? I remember from Laszlo's presentation, he mentioned the marketing as one of the activities that EIT Digital does to nurture these ecosystems and to, bring out the communication, bring out the information to the people. Maybe this is something that all of us could do much more than we currently do.
Yeah. Or maybe, I don't know, I can say some few words maybe now. Hanno?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yes. Well, I see that Konstantinos had joined. Yes. I think, for example, one way our teaching factory concept that I will illustrated before, meaning that you establish connection from the factories, the local, for example, factories in our cases, but could be companies or the organization, employer, with the classrooms, is a way in which they have early access to talents, and also students may increase their awareness of the opportunities, of the interesting challenges that the local ecosystem can offer. So I think this could be a way in which we can somehow respond to the weakness that you mentioned, that students are not aware of the opportunities.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm also ready to chip in. I'm not sure when we are supposed to talk, but indeed, I think communications is very important, and this could be actually two types of communication. Communication should be two-directional. Of course, marketing of the opportunities EIT and the various KICs offer to students and to entrepreneurs and to companies is an important part. And we do our best to achieve that. Our strategy is to work with local partners in this, because they know what works best in their region or in their country. But I would also like to point out what I also touched upon in my presentation, that another direction of communication is important. Making sure that the local status, the status of the local ecosystem and the potential challenges and strengths of the particular region is known in Europe. And that's why we are running this series of local startup reports or startup ecosystem reports from South West Balkan to East to Baltics, wherever we have a series. And then we make sure that these reports are well promoted across Europe, so that all our stakeholders in the KIC and out of the KIC can learn what's going on in these regions.
That's an interesting incentive. Thank you very much.
I can also add something from my perspective, building on what the colleagues have already said, because I think also, apart from really being important to communicate, is also to send the positive message, because I've been also talking with people joining programs, educational entrepreneurship programs in the region, saying they are kind of ambassadors for others to other youth to be motivated to stay, because they are anyway sharing an experience. And sometimes this works even better compared to some promotion or marketing oriented campaign, because they are really the ones that have the experience that are telling others this is what is happening. And I got one example that was for me really inspiring from a Croatian friend that was kind of saying, wow, I didn't know that this all about innovation was happening in the country, and was kind of starting to motivate him to be really searching for other opportunities and see what was done. So it's kind of having this, not only branding, but the idea that some enterprises, organizations are part of the EIT community of the KICs, is kind of giving also the idea that you are really motivated to bring innovation in the country. So this is also sort of being ambassadors of a change, and to inspire others to stay or to return, or at least to speak about the own country even abroad with proudness, which I think is also really important in some countries. Being Italian, I felt this a lot of times when I was living abroad as well.
Yes, certainly. Thank you. And I think also sorry, Marian.
Yes, if I may contribute only that I think we have a strong instrument and tool in what I already mentioned in our communication before, in EIT alumni community, and I think this is a huge potential there. First of all, it will be important to identify what is the experience within the alumni community, how many of them are really traveling and stayed in different countries, how many come back, and how many can then potentially serve as ambassadors for their peers in their local ecosystems, to motivate them and to present and to really bring them in. So I think there is this potential within the EIT could be really emphasized further.
That was actually the question that I was wanting to raise, so thank you very much for jumping in. Yes, the alumni as a ambassadors for the EIT and for the idea of a community as such would be a good idea, I would say. Definitely.
I think a strong potential there is also because it's not only the EIT alumni community as such is not nothing similar to when you have at the university alumni association. It's not, the role is not to compete or not to duplicate what you get from the university alumni when you graduate from. The idea is to go beyond and further. So to really combine it also in our alumni communities, definitely not only the graduates from the education program, is also participants from the other types of activities, and that creates a variety in our alumni, and that means that it's a rather professional network that can really drive the impact further, not only then to as a standard, let's say, alumni association. So I think that difference is critical to understand and to really benefit from how to work with the community and how to engage them and how to incentivize also alumni to help to steer this and serve as ambassadors and help us address this properly.
Thank you very much. I think this is a good idea to, as a closing remark, basically, to this very interesting discussion. Thank you very much to all of you in the panel for this broad overview, these good insights. And I would now like to give the floor over back to Anna, to the main moderator. Thank you very much.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you for the insights gained. Let me just shift the microphone. No, here we are. Thank you, panelists. Thank you for the insights gained, and thank you for this great exchange among KICs. I think it's good to see that there are so many initiatives in the RIS region, and that there is so much happening. And I think this is a motivating statement for all of us that have seen this panel, and for you also amongst each other.